Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. And it's been a while since I actually made a video because I was covering topics which could very easily be summarized in YouTube shorts. So now that I've found a topic which probably deserves a video of its own, I'm gonna cover it right now. The Earth's mightiest heroes, Avengers, pretty much fight an enemy unlike anything they have faced before. Not a conqueror, not a tyrant, but Superman. Now, just by the looks of it, you probably know which version this is, but just to be specific, I'll only be using the theatrical version and not the comics or the Snyder cut unless I have to specifically mention something from it, which is well known enough to argue. And so now, let us ponder the question, can this Superman, DCEU Superman, the last son of Krypton, the man of steel, whatever name you wanna call him, can this Superman actually beat or even stand a chance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe against its mightiest heroes like Iron Man? Now, let's move on to the actual scaling of this verse. And for starters, now when it comes to Superman's actual scaling, of course he scales higher than the Justice League, but we don't know by how much exactly. I mean, it's a lot, but for something definitive, let's look at this one interview I found where supposedly the world engine could have created a neutron star. And this is further supported by stuff like Blue Beetle, for instance, who supposedly can attack at brown dwarf star level. Now, this correlates because Superman is supposed to be the strongest and most powerful force in the entire universe. Therefore, if anything, Superman just scales somewhere between large star to brown dwarf star as of right now. As for his speed, for instance, according to this random guide, Flash is the fastest thing on a planet. Now, this obviously would include Superman, but even though I think this more so doesn't mean that this version of Flash during the Justice League, because of course we know that Superman was able to react to this version. So if not this version, then which version of the Flash am I talking about? Now obviously, if you remember the Snyder cut, for instance, this likely refers to the scene during the end of the film.
Just gotta go faster than the speed of light, far beyond the speed of light. You gotta break the rule barrier and you gotta do it now.
Now, if you paid attention to the clip I just rolled, you can probably hear or have heard that Flash talked about breaking a rule. The rule of becoming faster than the speed of light, implying he has not run faster than the speed of light. This makes sense since Superman, who was supposedly faster than him before, is frozen in this scene. Completely frozen. If the Flash was actually slower than Superman or even relative to him, then Superman, once he rematerialized or something, or even before that, would have been fast enough to replicate this speed, if not just reach Cyborg in time. So yeah. Now before any of you wanna say something like, no, the Flash has the speed force and Superman doesn't, then that just means Superman doesn't scale to the Flash. His whole power is speed. He is fast, that's the whole point of his power. If he's not as fast as the Flash, then like, okay, he can be strong like I've shown in that the most powerful and unstoppable force scan, and Flash on the other hand is just the fastest force if anything. There's nothing to contradict this. So yeah, I'm safely gonna put this and say that the Flash is basically faster than the speed of light, but Superman does not scale to him here. So Superman is basically slower than the Flash. This basically just ends with me placing Superman at speed speed of light in terms of his fighting and combat speed at a high ball. Now that we have all that out of the way, let's actually start scaling the Avengers on this matter, because so far we have reached to a conclusion that Superman is like on a relatively mid-ball scale, for instance, would be capable of like destroying stars and just be like capable of speed of light movement. Anything below the speed of light would be like super slow for him. So yeah, now that we basically have this, let's just get into the actual scaling of the Avengers. And to start off with things, let's just start off with someone who probably you think won't stand a chance. Now, for the actual scaling, let's begin with Iron Man now. Now, if you're wondering why I'm starting with Iron Man, I would have wondered too a few years ago, but if I hadn't actually scaled Iron Man. Now, let's begin with his speed on this. So, firstly, now for his speed, I won't be speaking much because his speed is like wonky but can be scaled to speed of light, if not faster than the speed of light when it comes to actually fighting. So yeah, he can either fight Superman at equal speeds and react to Superman, if not actually react faster than Superman. But as for his actual attack power, just to be clear, Iron Man falls short compared to the likes of, I don't know, Superman here. Even in verse, he would be weaker than Superman if he actually was dropped there. He'd be a top tier, pretty strong, capable of fighting Superman at equal speeds, but not actually strong enough. A similar case to Flash, but if he was slower than the Flash. Now for Iron Man's strength, we can basically scale him off Thanos in this scene, where Thanos uses the Power Stone and Iron Man tanks the attack. Then Iron Man also flies at him and hits him with whatever that was and actually makes him bleed. Like Thanos actually overpowers the Hulk here. He breaks free from Hulk's grip on his neck, then starts beating him senselessly, man. Now you can't tell me that Hulk didn't get overpowered here at all. Not only does Thanos actually beat Hulk through sheer attacks, he makes Hulk faint. He makes Hulk go unconscious in this scene. You can't lie here. Now Iron Man beat Thanos, who beat this Hulk. This very same Hulk also beat Thor prior to his awakening. Like, just look at this beat down here. He's demolishing Thor here. Hulk is demolishing Thor. He was beating him so badly, Thor pretty much started getting visions of his father. Thor's hammer, for instance, is ready to have exploded a star and almost destroyed Earth with it. So this implies that even prior to his awakening, whilst also weakened significantly, characters like Thor, for instance, even Hulk, even in the weaker states, could have destroyed stars. That doesn't really make much sense because that would upscale like everyone after the Avengers just because of these two. And yeah, you are right. The answer is because Thor was weakened. We are shown in the prequel comics that Thor was actually shot to Earth using dark energy, which cost him some of his power. This also makes sense because Thor was shot to Earth. He didn't land gracefully. So Thor being weaker in this case actually makes the scaling a bit more consistent, because now Iron Man, like in the Avengers, isn't a starbuster, but instead he's just like fighting a weaker Thor who was reacting slower, taking more damage, etc. However, the actual output of the hammer doesn't change much, because the hammer basically had a fixed output for this. The hammer, whilst being built, destroyed a star like I have shown, and could have destroyed planet Earth itself. Now, if you want to know how this could relate to Iron Man, like, oh, he never went full power against Iron Man, he was holding back, something like that. Let's just look at this one scene and see whether this changes your mind. Thor used his axe to throw his hammer. Thanos grabbed Iron Man, used him as a meat shield, and then Thanos moved on to fight Thor. Now, basically, if you understood what's going on, Thor was basically using his axe, channeling his power into it, then hit the hammer with full force. The hammer now channeling all the energy which accumulated in Stormbreaker, which Thor had accumulated in it, then fired at Thanos. Thanos took the chance to quickly grab Iron Man in like split seconds. Then Iron Man pretty much tanked it, no shields activated, no nothing. His raw durability was at display there. Iron Man tanked a full force attack from Thor. Even if accidental, it's likely that Iron Man definitely has that type of durability and should scale to Thor, at least in that regard. I mean, it's a pretty good debate to think about. Current Iron Man, or at least Iron Man at the time of his death, against the Avengers from the first film. I mean, yeah, Iron Man would win, but it's crazy to think about that he upscales from pre-awakening Thor and Hulk and other versions of himself. Yeah, so to conclude things off here, could DCEU Superman actually beat the MCU Avengers? Of course not, I've just showed that. But like, sure, if you have disagreements, you can move to the comments. Type them out now that you have finished watching the video. And if you want to use obscure scaling methods like what character stats and powers did here, and say that, oh, DCEU Superman is a solar system burster because he's the most powerful force in the universe and that's a force in the universe. If we give the same leniency to someone like Thor, yeah, sure, he's also solar system bursting, but he's also high complex multiversal. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any refutes or disagreements, share them in the comments. I'm happy to discuss them. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, share and subscribe. And have a nice day ahead. And bye bye.